Common Ground, conversations exploring the stories and perspectives of people building the UK India corridor. My name is Lakshmi Kaul, and I'm bringing you this UK India series for Global Order. From growing up in a remote village in Maharashtra with limited exposure to English to then becoming a strategic advisor, mentor, trade champion, and bridge builder between India and the UK, Siddharth Mukne's story is deeply compelling. This conversation today is not just about trade and business. It's about identity, mobility, leadership, resilience, and what it truly means to build bridges across cultures and systems. I'd like to welcome Siddharth Mukne to Common Ground. Hi, Siddharth.
Hello, Lakshmi. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show, and I'm quite excited.
Let's start with the beginning. So you grew up in a remote village in Maharashtra, and you actually studied in a regional language environment until the age of 17.
Yeah.
What did ambition look like in that environment? And was there any moment where you realized your life could become bigger than your immediate surroundings? I mean, encountering English, international environments. Did you experience insecurity, imposter syndrome? Tell us all about it. Tell us, take us back to your village.
Wow, thank you. As you straight away taken me back to my village is fantastic, which is unexpected. But no, absolutely, I think it's like a long journey, and I'm really proud to say that. So when I was in the village, I was average student, not very good in the studies, but I was very good in the extracurriculum activities. And I think what we talk about the public relations, I think I that learned from a village itself only, because how you meet, trying to get the people, meet the people, and how you talk to them and connect to them at the end. So I didn't have much ambition as such when I was in village, till there was very particular incident happened. I was happy-go-lucky, enjoying my life, enjoying my freedom there. And then actually when I was in the around 14 or 15, that time actually I taken study very seriously, because that time I thought that I need to go to Mumbai, because that time going to Mumbai is the ultimate goal for me. Is forget about not even the wildest dream. I thought that I will land in London for so many years now. But that was a dream to go to Mumbai, and that's why actually when I did got a lot of study in 1 year particularly, and then got a good grades and marks. Then on that basis, I went to Mumbai and joined the university there for engineering. But as you rightly said, there's a lot of challenges, because it's a completely different world for me. Particularly that the language is the biggest barrier, because I didn't know the difference between go and come when I was in Mumbai. So, and plus I was staying in the boarding school in Mumbai. So it's all challenges, new environment, new people, language is new. I don't understand the English in the university. And that time I was a self-learner. So I have to learn myself about, I don't know whether there were any English coaching classes. Even though they were there, we couldn't afford it anyway. So that was always been a challenge. And probably that resilience got it from my village itself, that I never thought to go back. I always thought that I'm here and I have to survive and I have to exceed what I'm doing here. But the biggest achievement for me in university in Mumbai is my friends. I got really good friends around me. I think that is what I said, that when I learned from the public relations things in my village, I think that helped me in my university life as well, to get the right people around me. They supported me, they helped me, and we grew together, and we are friends till now after 35 years.
So, you said you made your way to Mumbai. For a lot of people from smaller towns, villages, they carry so much brilliance, but there's also this self-doubt, because the whole world is operating on English language medium, right? How did you navigate that transition? I mean, you talked about your friends, but were there other things, the tools, techniques that you recommend to people who are now hesitant but are equally brilliant? It's just the language that is holding them back in confidence.
Absolutely. The language is a very critical thing. And that while I learned in the first 2 years were more challenging for me, because that I couldn't understand what they talk when the professor was telling in the classroom. And I used to go to my room, in the hostel, and then taking my friends' notes, to just filling the gaps which I left behind. But what I think I have done is that era was completely different, Lakshmi. As you understand now, it's not an era of Google or AI and other things. There's no ways you have to do your own things. You have to find your own ways. And that's why now I started, I think I remember the midday, the newspaper was the biggest help for me. I used to carry the buying the midday every day and carrying the dictionary with me and just trying to solve those things. Listening to music, I didn't understand the single word what they're saying, but I was trying to listening more and more English music. Try to watch English movies, just trying to surround it with understand and try to talking to the people or my professor, even though I know that sometimes made many mistakes, but I still keep on doing that, kept on doing those things. So I think that helped me to build my the confidence. Probably credit goes to them as well. They understood me. Probably they helped me to the grow and to give me that confidence to talk as well as to communicate.
So all these years later, now let's bring you to the current day. And how did you land in London, in the UK? But let's talk about how you've spent years helping UK businesses understand the India market, its regulatory and other landscape. What would you say is what do British organizations still must misunderstand about India? Do you think the world still likes to look at India through an outdated, earlier kind of perception, or is that changing in your view? You have such a regional presence now in the UK.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. It's for sure that the British businesses don't consider India anymore as a land of snake and elephant. For sure. So that is definitely, that perception is gone. But they still don't understand that the India I always feel that is a continent. It's not a one market. It's the many India in one India. So that the understanding is still not there. And that's why they compare the India with other small markets as well. And that's what I feel that they need to do more homework, understand a bit more about the India's the various states, their languages, the business culture, various other things. So I think they're just diving without knowing that factors, and then they realize that okay, they India is the place to get lost easily. But it's not about the is problem with the India whether you have reached out to the right place, or have you used the right channels to go through that process, or have you developed the right structure to engage with the market. So that is a challenge at the moment, but I think they're learning swiftly.
Quite right. And people get very excited about India because the sheer size of the market that we have here. There is an increasing purchasing power. The domestic market is very strong. But like you said, people get lost in India, even thinking, where do they start? How do they begin? What is your kind of mantra of recommending market facilitation to any UK business?
I always believe and tell to the businesses, develop the structure of the part of the structure is the first step to understand the market. Do your homework, because it's equally important that you should be in the driving seat rather than depending on the local partners and other things. So first thing is that to understand the market through the market feasibility study, to understand how the big market is for your product and services, where is within India, where is opportunity, how the competition landscape look like, taxation or the regulatory framework, get the understanding of all aspects before you take the further decision whether is this the right market for you to go to, or if you decide there's a market to go to, then within India where you should start with. So that's always the mantra. I would say that to take it forward, and then the next step will come, that how to engage with the market, whether through the partnership or joint venture, whether setting up our own business. So that comes much later. But first step always to do the homework.
Right. So feasibility studies and understanding the market is critically important. As is, I believe, relationship building, understanding your local stakeholders, knowing those people and nurturing those relationships. We are a warm country. We like to build those relationships.
Absolutely. And that's the next stage actually. So I always believe that the India is to develop the partnership. It's not kind of a buying or selling engagement. Need to develop the strong partnership and work on building the relationship if you want to go a long way to India. And that's very true in India, because India believe in the building the relationship. We don't need to meet in the boardroom to take the decision. We can take the decision on the dining table as well. So that's the things work in India. So
or on a chai ki patri.
Absolutely. So it has to be more about partnership, building relationship, and be patient. That's the three areas I work on.
Good advice. So tell me about your work in the UK, and if you want to tell us how you landed in the UK, because from Mumbai, then how did that like sharp switch to UK happen when you were
Uh,
still picking up the language and English ways of doing
so
things?
so when I was in university, I was then initial difficulties. Then I managed to complete my the degree engineering, and then I started the job in India with initially with the German company, then American company, then the Austrian company. But in the parallel, I also continued my study in kind of international trade management with NMIMS. And just through that, actually, over the period, I built my confidence in not only to speaking in English, but also how to communicate with the people. I was then working from the started with the shop floor jobs in operations to then into the business development, or so that kind of helped me throughout the journey to develop my career as well as a personally to grow in the area. And I think that helped me to then wanted to understand what should I do the next, because I've done quite well in that sense that by the age of 24 I had bought my own house. I had my job as a being regional manager in Mumbai, which was very nearby. And that time I used to get the Saturday and Sunday holiday, everything that was very unheard of. You can say that. So I was living really good life by the in India with having the very early age, but always been ambitious person, want to do more, and probably that the reason I came to London through. I got a job here through my friend. He insisted me to come here, which I was not coming. I was not ready to come, but he was already here and he wanted me to come to join his company. So that's why I think. But he convinced me, and that's why. And at the same time, my wife is occupational therapist, and in India there was not much awareness that time. I'm not sure it's still there, but that time it was not there. So we thought that she will also have the better opportunity. And I also wanted to do further study here because I'd done some study, but I wanted to have further education in the UK. So that's the reason. And plus, I always have that kind of mindset because once when you're young and you achieve certain things in life, it goes to your head. You feel that, okay, I can do anything now, anywhere in the world. I'm on the top of the world kind of thing. So I always thought that when I go to UK, I will be everyone will be waiting for me to to absorb me, that organization, because the organization I work in India, where they're all multinational companies. So I thought they are already there in India, so they will be more than happy to take me on the board. But it didn't happen like that. But that's another story. So no, actually, once then I came here on the shop floor. My job was again from white collar job to the coming back to the shop floor. So I work really hard in the at the maintenance department on the shop floor, working 12 hours to 14 hours duty. But the in the hope that I will get the right opportunity in the future. But when I came and tried to reach out to those businesses, they didn't want to hear what I did in India. My experience or what I've achieved in 8-9 years in India is completely washed out. And that's the probably challenging part for me, that now my career had to start from here, what I'm doing now. And that was the hit actually for me, that okay, that what I thought about it when coming to here is not happening. But again, when I said that initially, that when coming from village to Mumbai, it's kind of a resilience for me not to go back, to stay there and just try to your best to achieve your goal or a dream. Same thing I did here as well. I said, okay, I'm here now. That is my past. This is present. Now how I can take it from here. And that's what I again started finding my ways to how to get into the areas where I want to work, mostly in the business development area. And from operations to business development is a big jump, and nobody wanted to hear that you can work that kind of work. So that then I chose in the middle way to go into the project management, work in the project management area in different life science industry. And parallelly, the only tool I had to do is that to continue the further study. And that's what I then did my industrial trade management, the industrial marketing, and then executive MBA in parallel while working in the project management. And from there, then I jumped to the business development side. So it's a very strategic decision to kind of reach where I want to be.
Wow. So, and that young man who was, not really welcome in the manner that you thought you would be, has now set up India desk across regions in the UK, which is quite a phenomenal switch to how you've shaped your journey. You want to tell us a little bit about these India desks and why are they important?
Absolutely. Because I'm working in this UK India corridor for almost 15 years and on various platforms, and I always feel that there are only few pockets in the UK are engaged with India than others. And I thought there should be more awareness across the country. At the end, the business will take the decision according to their requirements, strategy, and the priorities, but at least they should know that there is an opportunity in India, or they should explore that opportunity and whether they can take the decision. And also they're kind of a single window that platform is created, that they can reach out to that platform, and they can be assured that you'll get the right information and the right support to take in the journey to engage with India market. And that's why we have collaborated. And with that, we also kind of giving them the confidence that it's not only about my company as a Ergo Europe is doing it, but we are doing in partnership with the local chamber of commerce, and then which is supported, and then also the supported by the Department for Business and Trade as well as Indian High Commission. So the message is that we all together are there to support you or to help you. And I thought this India desk, we have got now 6 India desks in the region, and hopefully it will be 10 by end of June. So the purpose now, as you know, the free trade agreement will be implemented very soon. So when there will be, I believe and I strongly believe that there will be more inquiries will start coming in, more companies, businesses will be start asking more questions and more information. And that time, I think this desk will be very helpful for them to provide that information. So that's the whole purpose to having that strategic partnership.
Excellent. And now there is a whole group of people waiting, welcoming, businesses and people coming into the UK, including for the student community as well. So you've chaired discussions around the UK-India Free Trade Agreement before the negotiations formally began. And, there have been lots of conversations around building this corridor further because there was a lot of scope. What were businesses actually hoping for from the FTA? And do you feel that the FTA, the CETA, in the manner that it is shaped now, is addressing any of those requests or demands or expectations?
Yeah, no, absolutely right. You will surprise no, Lakshmi, that there are very common the requirements from the business. When I spoke to, I had a lot of roundtable discussion across the country, and the major one is that the reduction in tariff and duties. That is the first one, always there on the top. The next one of the kind of a simplification of regulatory framework and the custom procedure. So that another area. Then another third one is the tax simplification, but it is done much earlier because the GST simplification is done few years back. That helped after the negotiation kicked off, which is great. And ease of doing business. So I'm really happy to see that there's most of the things are reflect in the free trade agreement, the negotiation process, and it has been accepted. But once it will be implemented, you will get more and more. You'll see the difference, like ease of doing business, a single window, and other things. But I think I always feel that this is the best agreement what any other country has signed together.
Let's look at a leaderboard sort of thing. Let's see which are the places in the UK and in India which are very, very competitive, strong, attractive, are able to attract businesses to each other. So let's start with UK maybe.
Yeah. Historically, like the 3 regions, we've always been very active. UK regions are active with India. London has always been there. Always a lot of excitement. Then Southeast Asia, the Midlands, and somewhere in the north, in the Manchester side. But these area is the major regions engaging in India very actively than the others. But I think that's now things will changing slowly and steadily. And I will give one example actually that when I was working with the southwest of England, engaged with the Global Reach program, and we had on the program, we supported 30 companies for 2.5 years to engage with Indian market. And you're surprised at the end of many companies who are on the program actively engaged with India. Not only that the southwest region's export to India increased significantly, almost more than 25%. So it's kind of only one program can make so much difference. You can just see that if you have the wider engagement, how can create that awareness, and they can just explore that Indian market. That's it. So I see that side. In the India side, there has always been the attraction to the Maharashtra, because as you know that UK's largest export is in the Maharashtra, almost 22%. And then there's Karnataka, and then the Delhi, NCR. But saying that, I think the Hyderabad, is doing really well. Bangalore is always there. We have certain cluster in that side as well. Pune is a lot of companies that attracted to engage with the Pune as well. So these are, but there are certain other clusters are coming up as well. So we can say that in Ahmedabad and many other Indore and other places. In Lucknow is also kind of becoming the new for the defense sector as well. So now as the India's wider actually the states and the regions are opening and kind of attracting more foreign direct investors.
Great. And which sectors do you say are still the top 5 or top 6 sectors between the UK-India corridor? Which are those to look out for or currently very strong?
Saying actually that India is huge, and I always feel that yes, there are certain sectors have more opportunity than others, but in India there is opportunity for each and every sector. Honestly speaking, it's a massive country, so we have to remember that. But saying that, there are few sectors which I would say that food and drink is always going to be there because of sheer population and the Western lifestyles adoption in India. Then I think the healthcare is another major sector to look at, and there's a lot of activities happening in that sector as well. Manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, engineering, that sector, and that is a need for India as well because that creates a job, and considering India's young population, which need to have the jobs and skills. So this sector is quite important for India. Then renewable energy, and another, because India is the third consumer in the world, energy consumer. So that sector is quite, whether it's wind energy, solar energy, hydrogen. So that another one is, I would say, the creative industry is now growing, which call it orange economy. That is growing very, very fast. That to look at it, and education has always been there. So I think these are few sectors, if you think these are the more attractive than others.
If a young entrepreneur, so there's a lot of startups that are coming to the UK as well, whether it is for investments or partnerships or setting up and solving problems in the UK as well as the global problem. What are those sectors? Where are you seeing startups grow or young businesses grow?
The startup and young businesses actually has to grow, and they will have to shape their business around the global trend, probably the future global trend. I would say that, for example, digital economy, healthcare innovations, the sustainability, then the changing consumer behavior. So they have to just shape the services and product around it. What is a need for the future, which is a global trend look like, and I think that's where they will be more successful in that area.
So you've been involved with the care industry in the UK. I mean, you volunteer, you've been a supporter of many philanthropic organizations. Do you see that India's becoming stronger in its work on philanthropy, or is it limited to a few big sort of corporate houses just doing the CSR giving because that's mandated by the government? How is philanthropy in the UK as opposed to in India? How do you compare the two?
Yeah, it's quite different. It's way different that what's happening in the UK as well and India. As you said, you know that UK is very much rooted, and it's kind of there is a structure, there is a governance, and there is a professionalism to run these charities in the UK. And I think exactly that is lacking in India at the moment. There are few really good charities in India. They're doing really well. But overall of what I'm talking about, and these are the three areas which I mentioned to you, whether it's our professionalism or governance or the structure. And that actually sometimes is difficult for the small charity organization in India to attract the CS. And that's why I think they need a wider support. And the problem in India is that they start the charity through the good heart, and when they die, the charity dies as well. There's no succession planning as well. That is a big lack at the moment. So I think I always feel that the charity has to run like a business, but with the sanity keeping in mind. Otherwise, because the people working in the charity organization has to get the paid according to market rate, they should get all the benefits. Then only they will enjoy the environment. Then only they will support the people in the right way. So that things actually, that the cultural thing has to need to be changed in India. And I think that is more lacking. And that's why the more and more people need to get involved, particularly the business side or professional side people should get involved. It's not only they are going to give to the charity, but from that experience, we gain quite a lot. In fact, I gain a lot. I give only my time or efforts or whatever there is, but the kind of the engagement you have with the people, the kind of people you meet on the board or various other side, it completely change your perspective. For example, that when in the business world or trade world, as Lakshmi, that we always have some kind of expectation from each other, and that's the way the business works. But so when you are approaching somebody, then they will always have some kind of a barrier saying that he is coming to me or I'm going to him to expect certain things. But when you meet somebody through charity or for charity, they know that you're not doing it for yourself. You are trying to do for somebody else. So that barrier disappears. And then relations, you see that person beyond that, the barrier, and then the relation become more stronger. I believe so. And that helps in your business world as well. So that can be, I think that every youngster as well, young entrepreneurs or businesses, I think they should get involved some way or other to these charity organizations.
Yeah. And relationships are people driven. So people anywhere make or break a nation. They are the shapers of any nation's growth story. And I think the diaspora, there's enough to be sort of commended for the diaspora and the role that they play, because they're not just building their the home country where they grew up in, which is India, if you're talking about Indian diaspora, but they're also shaping the growth story of the UK. How do you view the Indian diaspora and the strength that they bring in? Is there anything that they are still lagging behind on in terms of their participation or anything else that they can do more?
Diaspora is very important. Diaspora link, the more important part, because any businesses need, any UK or Indian businesses, or particularly the Indian diaspora is quite big here. So what our UK businesses, when they want to engage with India, what they're looking for is the kind of a stability, then the predictability and the trust in the market. And the Indian diaspora or the UK diaspora, they can create that trust between these two countries. And that's actually, there's a bigger responsibility on diaspora, that how you can help those create that trust, so that businesses can, without any doubt, they can engage with each other's market. So diaspora, absolutely, they're not working within their states. I think they has to work as a one country, and there's rather than we have kind of different regions, which is, as rightly so, that India has got so many states, and there's a state representation are there in the UK, which is obviously. But I think some point when the business come, they should come on the one platform, and that's what I think we have to work on, that to how we can create as India as a brand and not as a particular state or the region, in that sense, if that makes sense.
And I think the India brand in the UK definitely has changed quite a lot for the better. From job, takers, now we are viewed as job creators, and that has been established. So let's go back to the young boy who was in a village in Maharashtra. When that young boy looks back today, looks ahead to where you are today, and you look back at all the years that you lived and delivered things and gone through things, what does that young boy feel today?
Wow. Okay. I would say that young boy from that village will say, you are the blessed one. You got the opportunity to live many lives in one lifetime, and that. But also, he will also say that your biggest achievement or greatest achievement is to attaining your dream without any shortcuts, or with honesty. So
that's a very strong message for those listening in. No shortcuts, but all efforts reward. I mean, they result in rewards. And that's very reassuring, especially at a time when the FTA will become reality and there'll be so much more opportunity between the two countries and therefore to the world. It's a good advice. Thank you. So that's it. We wish this young boy from rural Maharashtra and now this phenomenal guy in the UK all the very best in further spreading his wings around the world. And on behalf of the Global Order family, I want to say thank you for making time with us on Common Ground.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed our discussion. Couldn't imagine that the time has gone so quickly, and you tried to help me to speak to us on so many different aspects in such a short period of time. But it was wonderful. Always wonderful to catch up with you and talk to you. And thank you for inviting me again.
Thank you. We love the stories behind the people who are actually the chain makers in this very solid, robust corridor. So all the best to you, Siddharth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi. Bye-bye.
This is it for today. We will be speaking to another interesting guest, a prominent voice from the UK-India corridor at Common Ground, presented to you by me, Lakshmi Kaul, for Global Order. Stay tuned.